What's the biggest story of this Taliban takeover? Well, there are a few contenders to choose from. Was it Joe Biden's capitulation, the Afghan army surrender, or the Taliban's swift victory? Frankly, it's none of these. The biggest story of the week is the resistance of Afghan women. The Western media called them damsels in distress, incapable of defending themselves. How wrong they were. Afghan women did not shut themselves in their house. They're protesting, they're arranging safe passage for themselves, they're speaking out against the Taliban. These are no damsels in distress. Today, there was another protest in Kabul. Women turned up with placards. They chanted slogans demanding rights and freedoms. Remember, this is happening in Taliban-held Kabul.
These are all women who are working in government offices and in corporate sectors protesting for women's rights. We are protesting because we do not know what is going to happen to us. The women say we fought very long time for our rights. We don't want to lose what we have. We are demanding for democratic government in Afghanistan, and this government must be endorsed by UN. We women want all our rights that Islam gives to a woman.
These scenes were unimaginable 20 years ago, and it doesn't mean that the Taliban have changed. It means Afghan women have changed. Yesterday we told you about a female journalist who was taken off air by the Taliban. That list has now expanded. Khadija Amin of RTA Pashto was turned back from work. No explanation, no justification. She was asked to quote-unquote stay at home for a few days. And this isn't what the Taliban promised. But then again, are we surprised? Western countries may be naive enough to think the Taliban have turned soft, but we are not, nor are the Afghan women. Meet Meena Asadi. She's an Afghan karate champion. At the age of 12, she was forced to flee the country. Meena Asadi knows firsthand the horrors of the Taliban. She says there is nothing left for women athletes in the country. As for the Taliban's promises, she doesn't trust them one bit, she says.
Actually, everything is finished for athletes, women like me in Afghanistan, and we heard a report from Taliban that Taliban implemented some strict rules against women in some cities. They prevented women and girls from school and other activities. So once again, the darkest days came for women in Afghanistan. Absolutely no, I don't believe on Taliban, and they are the extremist party, and they don't believe on human rights and rights of women.
What are the options for women like Meena Asadi? The Taliban won't let them ply their trade, so what do? For some, the only option is to relocate. Can you imagine what that must feel like? To leave your homeland, and for what? To sing, to make movies, to play sports. Sometimes these journeys can be perilous. Let me show you what happened to prominent filmmaker Sehra Karimi. She posted this video the day the Taliban took Kabul. It's a terrifying watch. Karimi was in line at an ATM when she heard gunfire. People around her asked her to flee. She was scared, she was breathless, but she did not stop. She took her brothers and nieces and headed to the airport. Sehra Karimi successfully escaped the Taliban. She's in Ukraine today. This is how she described her frantic escape from Kabul.
The moment that we missed the first airplane, it was the most sad moment in my life, because I thought that, okay, we cannot go anymore, we stay. And then I started again. You know why? Because I am a fighter. I never give up. I never ever give up. I thought, no, I can't airport, so I need to. It wasn't about me. It was about my brother and his kids. I wanted, because I know that if they do something against me, they will hurt my family first. And they are small children, they are all girls, and I don't want that they witness something that they don't deserve.
All that pain, and for what? Her love for cinema. The world is playing trial and error with the Taliban, giving them a chance to show they have changed. What about the flip side? Gambling with women's lives and freedoms is not diplomacy. It cannot be a trade-off in political negotiations. And I can't believe all this has to be said. Afghan women have been given two choices: stay and risk your life, or escape the Taliban's terror. And both these choices are beyond unfair. This week, one part of an all-girls robotics team left Afghanistan. They plan to continue learning in Qatar. This is the same team that visited the United States in 2017. Back then, the US plugged it as a great achievement. Today, that same team has been broken up. One part in Qatar, the other in Afghanistan. That's the story of Afghan women. They're not relinquishing their rights. They plan to fight the Taliban as long as they can. But here's the question for America and its allies and the rest of the world. You used Afghan women to justify your occupation. Now you say rights cannot be defended at gunpoint. It's time to hold these politicians accountable for their hypocrisy. So keep tweeting us on #SaveAfghanWomen. Keep the campaign going. It's just getting started.